Good morning, this is Garrett with Around Town Dumpster Rental and Junk Removal. Already been to the dump twice today and did a full load of junk removal, helping a customer. Got all that done by 8. Now I got invited to a small business, I think they're small businesses, meeting with the CEO for a local credit union to talk about how they can improve their business banking. And after this, I'm gonna go unload 3 dumpsters. So what I'm gonna show you today is 3 different scenarios pulling dumpsters out of customers' driveways safely and doing it efficiently so that we don't damage their driveway, but that we get our work done. So I'm gonna take you with me. All right, just got out of that meeting with the financial credit union, and I think the best line from the meeting was when the CEO was commenting on a story that I shared about my experience buying equipment, and how he says, we've been giving loans to people who don't need loans. But, you know, in order to be a business that receives a loan from a bank, you got to show that you have the ability to repay that loan. Well, oftentimes these banks and credit unions not only require that, but they also require you to have that amount of money liquid in your account. And like, if you had that, you don't need the loan. And that's the point. So it was refreshing to hear him say that. And they're trying to change some things and really improve how they serve the business community. And it was just really cool to be in a room. I mean, it was a big boardroom. There's 4 business owners, the rest were staff and leadership from the credit union. And these people have been doing banking for the last 20 years, 30 years. They have a lot of experience. So hopefully they can make significant change to improve the experience for the business owners. So a little side note here in the video. Now I'm gonna go swap trailers and go pick up some dumpsters. Today I'm gonna show you picking up 3 different dumpsters, how it works using a trailer setup, how I do it, lessons I'm learning, how every dumpster is different and every driveway is different. Let me show you how this one's gonna work. So really the only challenge with this one is how close it is to the wall. Let me show you, come around this side. So the customer wanted it really close to the wall so they could load it from the top side of this retaining wall. Well, I'm within 3-4 inches of the wall here on that fender. So I just gotta be super careful. It's gonna get a little noisy once I turn on the motor that runs the hydraulics, but essentially here's the process. Turn on the motor, raise these rails all the way up, then take this ring that's connected to this cable, pull that out, hook it up to that, and then these rails will slip under the wheels here, and I'll start to bring it up onto the rails. As it comes up, I'm gonna end up lowering the rails back down to match the slope of the dumpster. And that's constantly changing as it's going up. And then what happens is I end up lowering the rails back down and pulling it in all the way. The dumpster does have to latch into these rails a few different places. So the rollers on the front of the dumpster end up in here. This pin ends up going inside of the rails of the dumpster, just underneath it. And then there's a tab on the side of the dumpster that latches under here. So that's the general concept. And I'm gonna show you 3 examples of it today. Okay, that's as far down as these rails are gonna go. The trailer's kind of sloping downhill, so these aren't gonna touch the ground, but they will go underneath those rollers. So time to back up. All right, so now the rails are tucked underneath these rollers. That's step 1. Now I'm gonna attach this ring onto the hook of the trailer and start to pull it up. And how I control these hydraulics is using this little remote. So it has a little guide here, tilt up, tilt down, winch in, winch out, and then the hitch. So I'm gonna winch out and release this ring and hook it on. All right, now that the ring is is hooked on safely, I can start pulling it up these rails. So those hydraulics are moving. It's gonna start to pull this up. Now I'm gonna go shift the truck into neutral. So as I do that, the trailer will actually be pulled underneath the dumpster. It helps having a second person to do that with you. That's not always an option though. Truck's in neutral. I'm gonna start pulling it on. As it comes up. Now there's a board underneath that. I don't want stuck in the rails. So I'm gonna use something to knock that down, the board's down. So now that it's starting to come up the rails, I can begin to lower these rails to match the slope of the dumpster. Now there's a restrictor on the hydraulics so these things don't come slamming down. It's kind of noisy, but this has a valve in it that restricts the hydraulics. At least that's my general understanding. So it's always a balancing act to line the rails of this dumpster up with the rails of the trailer and get it pulled up safely. I also want to check this retaining wall to make sure we're not getting too close to it. I think we're still okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it in a little more. As I do, I'm watching those rails to make sure it lines up. All right, let's lower it, keep lowering it. This really helps to have two hands. So I think on the next example, I'll set up a tripod. Okay, that's just about even. So I'm gonna end up pulling it on some more. It's kind of bumping around here. Let's check our angles. It's pretty tight right here. I can't pull the truck back anymore, so I'm gonna oh, you know what it is? There's a stick caught under the wheel. All right, that stick's pulled out. Let's keep lifting this thing up. I also shifted the truck into park because I don't want to hit that retaining wall. And the dually fender's kind of sticking out a ways. So as it comes up, I'm going to end up increasing the slope again. Let's come up. Come up again. Make sure we're not bumping into anything. Good there. Still good there. All right. Let's come up some more. About to drop off those planks. That's fine though. Not gonna hurt anything. Make sure we're still clear. Yeah, we're good. All right, it's up off the ground now. So I'm gonna end up lowering it. Let's bring it down. I don't want to lower it all the way though, until that dumpster is all the way pulled forward. The reason is this pin on the front needs to go inside the dumpster. It's gonna hit that bottom rail and push it up. So we want the dumpster to be in front of that before it gets pushed up. All right. Those front rollers are locked into this cone. Or excuse me, the front rollers are locked into that mount. So now as this goes down, that piece is gonna get pushed up underneath the dumpster. There we go. That dumpster's loaded. Time to put a tarp on it and go get it emptied. All right, time to dump. We got 5,000 pounds in here, actually a little more than that. Basically, when you're dumping, you just untarp it, open the door, chain it up, Start raising the rails on the trailer. Eventually this thing starts falling out. It's pretty intimidating looking. Alright, dust is settled. It's a big pile. It's out of there. Let's lower it down. Go pick up another one. All right. Guess who's joining us? We got Mrs. Muscle now, so nice to have a second pair of hands to run the truck while I'm outside loading up this next dumpster. So this one's a lot more tricky because we don't have a long runway. This runway's the neighbor's driveway, so it's also on a slope. It's hard to tell, but from the street up to the house, it goes up about 3 feet. So actually I put boards down and chalk the wheels so it wouldn't roll downhill. But I'm gonna get this backed up to the rollers and start loading it. Just got these boards taken out, so we're ready to roll onto this trailer. Doors latched and locked. This dumpster's way taller than what it was this morning. I think they added too much. Yeah. All right, just got it loaded up. The customer's watching us the whole time, so we kind of had to focus and get this done. There's some cars waiting on us. Still more of that for you, but it's delicate. I mean, you're dealing with a 5,000 pound container or whatever it weighs. Earlier, the one weighed, I don't know, it had 5,600 pounds in it, plus whatever the weight of the container was. This doesn't seem any lighter, but I don't know. Can't necessarily tell exactly quite yet. But one of the takeaways for this job is having enough runway with a 40-foot long truck and trailer to be able to fit in a normal residential street and load a container perpendicular to the road. It's tough. And then also dealing with the slope of the driveway, having Mrs. Muscle in the cab of the truck to be able to put it in reverse and back under the container a little bit, super helpful. Time to unload the dumpster. Comes out a little different than tree branches. Load her up, baby. All right, Mrs. Muscle. So we got it hooked up now. She's gonna winch it onto those rails. All right, now stop. Hang on, now lower the rails. Now winch it in a little more. Yep. What a lovely sound, huh? We got it rolling. Is there a board in the way? Let's go see what's going on. Got the door shut correctly. So you want to match the slope of the rails to the slope of the dumpster. At least that's what seems to work when I do it. What's that? So yeah, lower the rails down. And then keep pulling in on the winch. Okay, pause on the rails, but keep doing the winch. And then it's gonna start to lift off on the front because it'll start to pivot on this rear roller, and then you'll lift the rails up again. So do the winch. Now watch the front of your dumpster as it starts to lift up. Oh, that's already lifted up the rear. So go ahead and set it down. Just set it down. Lower your rails down. There you go. And keep pulling it in. Now hang on the rails. You want to pull that dumpster all the way in before you lower it down. What a sound, huh? Such a beautiful noise, right? All right. Now lower it all the way down. How was that? It's like playing a video game?
No.
So there's 3 examples on how we loaded dumpsters today. Remember, we're brand new at this. We don't know what we're doing. We try to pretend like we do, and every now and then we get lucky. But we're gonna put a tarp on this and head out. Thanks for watching.
Half a tarp.
Half a tarp. Well, we got 1 tarp arm, okay? That's the issue. This tarp arm's pretty messed up. I told my buyer's tarp rep, I paid for it 3 weeks ago. Said if it doesn't show up this week, I want a full refund. I'll go to a weld shop and have someone fabricate it. So it is what it is.